It's so fucking funny. Oh my God. Every damn day of the week.
Was engaging in a tremendous amount of social murder. Virtually every American has a similar experience, a shared experience where they have a loved one that spent their last days, instead of spending them with their family, spending it on the phone, talking to their healthcare provider, to maybe get a little bit of economic respite.
With me now is Fox News media and political analyst Howard Kurtz and
guys,
Fox News
yeah.
contributor Ben Dominich. There's a lot more to this podcast as well. And Ben, to some degree, it sounded like the Bolsheviks preparing to come after Tsar Nicholas.
Look, Hasan Piker has become this significant influencer on the left, to the point that major candidates from the Democratic Party are having to answer questions about him, having to decide whether they're going to be on stage with him, be on his podcast, talk to him, etc. From what I can tell, he seems to be spouting the kind of just, not just horrible, on the moral level, but something that I think is politically an absolutely horrible thing for the Democrats to associate themselves with. He is talking about encouraging murder, encouraging theft, encouraging, taking things away, and he's doing it from this position that, quite frankly, I think, is arguing this to a bunch of people who are going to nod along because they are representing the elite opinion of the New York Times.
And they want to be members of the cool kids.
Exactly. And they want that very much.
Lost me with this.
The Fox News opinion is pro
9/11.
CEO over workers, which is not the elite opinion. Thank you, Fox News.
Many things. And to give these crazy town views a platform, I can't fathom what the New York Times had in mind. And even worse is the romance tone of the whole thing. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for sharing your great intellect with us. Give me a break.
Yeah, but here's what he said about Brian Thompson's murder and the fact that he thought that he could understand why some people were cheering it. Listen here.
Because of the pervasive pain that the private healthcare system had created for the average American, I saw so many people immediately understand why this death had taken place. And that is the reason why I think the reaction to Luigi Mangione, especially by younger generations, was not so negative.
I understand why this death has taken. It was a cold-blooded frickin' murder on the streets of New York.
But also, this. If you have problems with the healthcare system today, you're complaining about Obamacare. Like, it is actually the policies of the Democratic Party that are currently, in sway when it comes to the healthcare system in America. And for Hasan Piker to go down this road, I find the whole thing disgusting, but I also find it really bothersome that, it's one thing if that's a sideshow. It's one thing if that's something that's going on within the Democratic Party. Right. They've got some radical on the edge who's saying something like this. This guy is being mainstreamed over and over and over again.
But it wasn't just him.
Dude, this is universal.
This is as well.
Elites in both parties are actively saying, like, fuck this guy.
Well, okay,
have you noticed that?
Not only that, but saying that she got disappointed that this didn't provoke a bigger move in the Democrats to push for universal health care. Listen to this.
I don't know why I thought that Democrats would immediately take this up as pushing a sort of unified message towards universal health care. I don't know why I expected that. I don't know why I was disappointed that it didn't happen.
I don't know why I was disappointed that the Democrats didn't take up somebody being gunned down in the streets in cold blood and make a push for universal health care.
You're also talking about cool crimes, bank robberies. That's cool, apparently, and that sort of thing. And, what really troubles me here is, look, I want to be clear. He has a big following online. He can say whatever he wants, free speech. I don't have a problem with that. But for the Times, with this huge megaphone, to shine a spotlight on this just makes no sense. And whatever happened to the slogan, all the news that's fit to print? This is just atrocious judgment. And I was glad to see many Democrats going online saying, we don't want this guy as the symbol of our party.
The other thing is just, I'm sorry. I look at this guy and it's like the thing that sort of made him percolate up outside of his own entity was the fact that he was abusing his dog on an internet stream.
I get this. I get that. Yeah, he was shock collar.
Yeah,
and the dog.
I get the sense you're not a fan. We got it, Sandra.
To speak any moment now at the White House. We are told that will be about health care. This after a major
That's so funny.
rules on marijuana. We're going to have that for you next.
That's so funny. They had to cut it off. They had to cut it. That is, for the record, this right here is quite literally the this right here is the straight news coverage. Okay? This is the second time today. Expect primetime host to follow suit later today. Yeah. That is crazy. That is actually crazy. The podcast has 5,000 views. You have 6 extra viewers watching live right now. They are giving it more of a megaphone than it had on its own. I agree. You got so much motion. They're doing the Kaya shock slop on Fox fucking News. I know. I love the completely heinous shit Republicans do on a daily basis, and they find what you say reprehensible. How does anyone take them seriously? I don't think you are supposed to take it seriously. I think that the people that take it seriously are insincere, right? The New York Times featured Hasan Piker declaring that he understands murdering healthcare executives like Brian Thompson and citing Frederick Engels for responding to social murder. This is the same person who said U.S. deserved 9/11 and advocated for political violence. This is the same newspaper that effectively banned a U.S. senator for citing the use of military to quell violent protests, which was later done on January 6th, says Jonathan Turdley. So here's a couple things. It's not about making arguments. It's about telling people what the socially acceptable position towards you is. Yes, this is a disciplining process. Okay, the 5 is going to definitely cover this as well. Every day we are moving closer and closer to Donald Trump coming out and being like, someone has to kill this Hasan Piker guy. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the important factor. A lot of people are confused as to why this conversation is taking place. I've also played the fool when talking about it, but I know exactly why this conversation is taking place. Both the establishment, elite in the Democratic Party and its gatekeepers in mainstream media want to have safeguards on what kind of conversation is appropriate and acceptable and what is not. This is a disciplining mechanism. Okay? That's all it is. That's precisely what it is. My favorite media critic, Adam Johnson, obviously had some choice words on this issue as well. Where is it? Let me see if I can find exactly what he said. Oh, yeah, here it is. He was responding to Neera Tanden, saying, this whole Piker discourse has been embarrassing to every person who has tried to make him the spokesman for the Democrats. Adam Johnson says, people like to mock the triviality of the Piker discourse, but it's useful to see it as an elite moral panic / disciplining exercise. Tanden hired not one, but 2 architects of the Gaza genocide. CAP, Center for American Progress, is bankrolled by corporate America. These guys desperately needed to be 2015 forever. Absent a boss they can tattle to, their preferred method of disciplining, these manufactured controversies are all they have. That's all this is. The Overton window has slid completely out of control on the issue of Gaza, on the issue of Israel, and they're trying to do their very best to manage the conversation, to try to like pull it back, to yank it, right? And the more mainstream media outlets offer me any credibility or even a microphone to say what I want to say, the more they lose their fucking minds. Not understanding that I already have the platform, right? It's right here. And many people in the media recognize that I have the platform. And that's precisely the reason why they don't actually mind giving me an opportunity to speak, because from their perspective, they benefit from it, right? They probably benefit from it more than I do, because these guys think that this is the only way to reach out to a broad audience. It's not. That used to be the case, but that's no longer the case, right? The Third Way Bulwark Daily Wire Anti-Hassan Alliance works because they're all actually conservatives who don't want a progressive politics to disrupt the feckless establishment liberal order. Nikki McCann Ramirez writes, "We will continue doing Hassan discourse until you are a desiccated husk being told that the next shitty candidate who loses to a fake Republican populace would have won if you had simply gone on my stream podcast show instead." So that's it. That's the problem. Okay? They want to put the toothpaste back in the fucking tube, and they can't deal with it. So they're trying to at least yell at anyone who even looks in my direction, who looks in the direction of this community. They're trying to say, don't talk to this person. Do not talk to this person, or we will come after you. Not realizing that every single time they do stuff like this, they end up boosting my profile, and it backfires on them because it causes boomers, some of which will hate me, obviously the Fox News watchers, to look at what I have to say and go, yeah, I don't really agree with it. Whatever, who gives a shit? I'll forget about it and I'll move on. But it also causes boomers to look at what I have to say and go, actually, this person is not so crazy. I don't know why they are presenting him as crazy. I kind of agree with him. Okay? So they're putting more attention and more eyeballs and also causing people to negatively polarize against Fox News as well. John Favreau says 0 people have tried to make Hassan Piker the spokesman for the Democrats. He showed up at one campaign event with one candidate in a primary and Saffrism interviews. What's embarrassing is the number of people on here treating him like he's a 2028 contender or the DNC chair. I said, I know no one asked me or cares about my opinion, but I don't want to be the spokesman for the Dems either. Also, the major problem here is Israel, 100%. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. That is precisely the point here. It's actually the position on Israel that I hold, that I've maintained, that I've seen a lot of the public discourse and public sentiment shift in my favor. That is what they're fearful of. God forbid if people started seeing it in the same way for Medicare for all. God forbid people actually start viewing capitalism in the same way. Okay? That's the problem. They don't want that to happen. And they feel as though independent media is finally putting a dent through the fourth estate that has been able to normalize the systematic forms of violence that people are subjected to and normalize it very effectively for the longest time. This doesn't mean that like every person that works in these legacy publishers are immoral beings or anything like that. As you guys know, I'm a fan of real reporting. I defend it all the time. I defend media all the time. I wish it would do better. But that is the problem, okay? That is the real problem, rather, not any of this other shit. Jeet here had a good take on this as well, because Matt Bruning was defending me. I think you're very clearly misrepresenting Piker here. He was asked to theorize why some people reacted to the killing positively, and his theory is that they did so due to the disgust with health insurance sector social murder, which is a well-defined term of art. Separately, health insurance is a fairly simple problem with a fairly simple solution. Okay, this was Kelsey Piper, who is one of those like effective altruist people, I guess. Who has been losing her mind as well, and like very openly demonstrating her personal biases while hiding it or sheltering it as though it's like objective analysis, right? The other point that I wanted to mention here was from Austerity is Theft, one of my favorite accounts on here, Why to the Post, who actually had some really thoughtful critique on what was going on. Where is it? Hold on. Where is it? Oh, he started off here. He says, there's zero contradiction between this anti-Hassan elite mob oscillating between we need to publicly condemn him 12 times a day and if you ask Gemini, he doesn't have any viewers and is irrelevant because this Discord is aimed at other elites. This Discord is not about this discourse that's going on right now is not actually about me at all. This discourse is 100% about signaling to other elites, signaling to other gatekeepers in mainstream media to stay the fuck away. Okay? To stay the fuck away. Okay? They've been trying to kick him off Twitch and YouTube for years. It hasn't worked. So they're trying to make him toxic so that nobody in politics wants to go on a show, so that it can't serve as a launch pad for a rising crop of left populists, particularly critics of Israel. The Israel-Trump war on Iran has only served to make this feel urgent or existential for them. Their power base is in terminal decline when it comes to public opinion. It's not surprising that everyone trading in this Hassan dumping represents a zombie politics on its way out. Yeah, and you see it. She's being cordial with an actual white supremacist, Richard Hanania, who said, Democrats, stop this, please. This is the road to hell. Richard Hanania is literally a race realist who has written extensively on the genetic inferiority of black people, okay? The type of person whose politics are so cancerous that simply switching from R to D should not automatically mean that this person is an ally. And yet, for the likes of Neera Tanden, this person is an ally, right? This person is the number one ally. Because they do not represent any sort of disruptive politics. Okay? This person who not only is a straight up white supremacist race realist, but this person also, Richard Hanania, is a defender of Jeffrey Epstein and a defender of pedophilia. Okay? She's being cordial with an actual white supremacist because they have one common enemy, and it's anyone half a click to the left of Bill Clinton who won't offer them a job, says White of the Post. The only discernible skill this basket case has is career self-preservation. There was another one as far as like this discourse goes, okay? Where Jill Filipovich, another one of these like elites, right? This whole interview just makes me incredibly sad. Total breakdown of any moral code, sense of personal integrity, commitment to public good. He responds to us by saying, what are you talking about? The whole interview is about the breakdown of the social contract and how people are rationalizing it. None of these people are actually endorsing a crime spree. How do people, professional pundits no less, not grasp that this is tongue-in-cheek? Complete breakdown of the social contract. If you crop out quotes, pretend that it's tongue-in-cheek line about the Louvre is literal, and reframe talking about a breakdown of the social contract as an endorsement of breaking the social contract, just look at what got cropped. Would you dine and dash from a local diner? Never, never. No, I wouldn't do that. If I saw somebody doing that, I'd probably pay for their meal. The discourse about this piece, goddamn, like so many elite commentators have mainlined so much Hassan hate clip stuff over the past month that they're now functionally illiterate. He said in this interview that he'd never actually steal even a candy bar because of his parents. They talked about why polling showed younger Americans had an uncommonly positive view of Mangione and his heinous crime, which none of them condoned as ethical. Explicitly not. They did not endorse it. They talked about how that view could come about. Are people illiterate? Murder of the CEO of a healthcare company? Also no. No. It's such a ridiculous cook up that is unintellectual, which is hilarious. Okay, it is objectively anti. It is objectively not intellectually curious. It's not intellectually honest. Okay, and these guys are entertaining it. Some of these people know better and they're still entertaining it. And the reason for why they're entertaining it is because they have no other way to have a sincere conversation with an oppositional framework, okay? They don't. They know that the oppositional framework is actually generating a lot more, gaining momentum, right? Like people who are unbelievably critical of the current system that they exist under, the system of capitalism. They're terrified of it because their jobs rely on defending capitalism, right? They're writing fanfic now, Unc. Guys, you don't have to show me all the fucking dumb fucks, all right? Anyway, my favorite part of all this is the most bigoted people all of a sudden are woke and using woke language when describing you. Yeah, I know. They drop all of their priors when it comes to destroying their opponent in the marketplace of ideas, right? So the last thing I wanted to cover from austerity is theft is impossible to even have a discourse when pundits are this illiterate and dishonest. He was asked to comment on why a chunk of young adults had an uncommonly positive view of this heinous killing. Also, if this was ethically justified and plainly, said so. And he plainly said no. How does she frame it? Piker's view on theft are bad, but they really do pale in comparison to his views on murder. That the important thing about Brian Thompson's murder is that healthcare CEOs are engaging in a tremendous amount of social murder due to the structural violence of poverty. Okay? I'm responding to a question about why Gen Z had a very different approach. And I very clearly lay it out in that conversation as well. I say Americans are quite draconian when it comes to punishing crimes. Right? And yet, the response to Luigi Mangione was shocking by the masses. One must ask the question why they were not so black and white on the issue of broad daylight murder. This is not me endorsing murder, okay? As a matter of fact, I say it's not the appropriate method here at all. It's not good. It's a violation of the social contract. But for many, that social contract has already been ripped apart. That's precisely the reason why they respond to this murder in a way that you normally wouldn't expect. His views on theft, per that New York Times interview, people are pretending to talk about, are that he would never shoplift anything personally because of his parents. He was asked to comment on why public is increasingly willing to rationalize shrink from a self-checkout at big box stores. Hey, crazy idea, but maybe people are willing to rationalize theft from self-checkout machines because we've made the experience of buying something a totally depersonalized act of self-provided labor to get extorted by a tiny consortium of hyper-concentrated mega corporations. Pretty much every major big box retailer has been rethinking and getting rid of self-checkout machines as a result of this increasingly casual theft. And they say so openly, but if you say the same thing as Walmart, but are on the left, people funded by Walmart heirs attack you. Yeah, this was another one that I retweeted. Good morning. I'm an established political journalist, and I'm going to pretend like I don't understand context, hypotheticals, and moral relativity just so I can once again try to destroy Hasan Piker. I'm a very serious person whose opinion you should care about. Okay? So it's a totally idiotic exercise, and it literally doesn't matter. And I try to explain that it doesn't matter, but everyone assumes that their interlocutors are cynically saying certain things, not because they genuinely believe it. Okay? I must be saying this doesn't matter. This doesn't actually harm my bottom line or my goals here of reaching a broader audience and actually getting them to understand where I'm coming from. They don't get that. They think, oh, I'm just saying it because it's actually working. It's working. It's not. Even if you succeeded in successfully getting all these other mainstream outlets to be like, I don't want Hasan to be anywhere near us, it wouldn't work on, it wouldn't do anything.